Morning, welcome to Cardano Q&A. We'll get started with any questions anybody has. And then I've got a couple of things I want to chat about, and then we'll do some due diligence on this opportunity that we've got coming up, collaborating with Fluidpool. So anybody got any burning questions from the week they want to get off their chest? Hi, Dinesh.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning.
No, nothing from me, Jonathan. No,
Yeah, okay.
wait a while.
Well, perhaps I'll just cover the little bits of exciting stuff that's going on at first. So, I know you've heard me talking about Machiavellic repeatedly for a while now, and they're getting their first. It's going to run a bit slowly. I might do this on the other screen. Yeah, I might hold up. I've got too many things open, so it's a game, so it might not show too well. And also there'll be the video lag, of course, but oh, no, it's a bit slow. Zoom's not responding either. I think I have to drop it down to my other screen. Close some applications. So Machiavellic is a massively multiplayer role-playing game that's starting to launch features. It's built on Cardano, so it's got a blockchain behind it, and any activity you take part in the game, any NFTs you or any assets in the game you create and you acquire are actual translatable into real world tokens. So you can actually buy and sell from your game activity the assets you create and you produce. So this is a way to sort of provide the countless hours that gamers throw at their computer screens to turn that into actual and investable activity. There's been a few that you've probably heard of before. Lucas ran one before. We had unicorns, crypto unicorns, and we've had Otan knows one that Luca was doing. I didn't get involved. But this one is Machiavellic, and it's on Cardano specifically. So that's why I'm interested, because I run a stake pool on Cardano, so I'm part of running the infrastructure. And if I get my screen share up, we'll see if this will actually work. Desktop capture. Is that sharing okay?
Yeah, Jonathan.
Great. So this is the Machiavellic first actual interactive portion of their build. They've been building for a couple of years now. They've released NFTs that you could purchase that would actually benefit you when the game came along, and they have their native token that they've done a pre-sale of as well, and a distribution through staking with Fluidpool and others. You can actually earn some MAC beforehand. That MAC is now going to be used as currency within the game. So if you want to buy things, if you want to trade, then MAC will be the token. You'll also be earning MAC. And there'll be another couple of tokens that you can earn during the game, within the game as well. But it's exciting because it's a really high quality piece of work. The graphic design and the art involved is really nice. They've got, I don't know if you can hear that, but they've got sound effects and recording artists have put music for the background, ambiance, creating it, and they're going to have you onboarding in a sort of onto a cryogenic chamber, and this is the first phase. So if you've got MAC, you've got NFTs, you've got officer passes where you actually bought a character in the game, then you can now come in and interact with it. And it's a crypto-based game, so you can connect your wallet to it and actually see your wallet contents within the dashboard of the game. So here I've connected everything. I've got everything set up already. Because once you've got your officer passes, any NFTs you bought for the game, you can actually stake and earn additional MAC already. off the bat. So if you've got anything like that, Paul, I'm looking at you in particular, then make sure you get onto the dashboard, connect your wallet, start investigating. So to maximize your returns, you need to come into the game, find your officer passes. That's each of these characters that I've bought in various stages in the past. You can give them a name, you can edit them, give them a name, you can choose a picture for them. And that's one of the stages you can do. The next is to onboard all your officers. So that's when you can actually go into this cryogenic chamber and find an empty pod and put your officer in there. So this is freezing them, cryogenically freezing them for the duration of the travel to the planet Ozark, where we're going to wage war with some evil aliens. And within the game, there's all sorts of factions where you can choose who you want to hang out with, and Fluid Pool is part of the Hardliners faction. So we're all about violence and and being over enthusiastic about everything, violence and idealism. So that suits your character. It's completely opposite to mine, so that's why I'm having fun playing it in the game. But that's the state. And so within these chambers, I can actually show you where I've lodged my officers. We are this section. Yeah, I think this is mine. So I bought two permanent plots within this cryogenic chamber, so I can actually assign where all my officers go. And so in here, I've dropped in this blue section at the top in the center. I've dropped in my officer passes, so we've got 8 of them there. And if the interest in the game picks up, then I might be doing some giveaways, and certainly I'll probably have an opportunity to earn more MAC again. In fact, I've got a meeting on Monday with the team to talk about how we can actually get their token potentially listed on Tap Tools, so people can start to translate their efforts in the game already straight into real world value, so they can actually swap out on the dexes and so on and so forth. So that is Machiavellic, which is quite exciting.
So you have been buying those little suckers then on the quiet.
Yeah. Did get a little bit enthusiastic. Got a couple of late nights getting sucked into the lore of Ozark, and ended up buying some NFTs. But yeah, I think I'll be rewarding some of you guys with them, so don't feel that.
So can you still lose your officer? And if so, what happens then? You're out of the game?
Sorry, say that again, Ray. You're dropping in and out a little bit.
I said, so if you do lose your officer in the game, is that it? You're completely out of it?
So if your character dies in the game and you've got an officer pass, then you get this giant statue erected permanently within the game world, and it'll have your character's name on it, and so people will know forevermore that this is where you died. And there's only going to be I can't remember, there's 100 or so of these characters ever created, so you'll have one of 100 statues in the game, immortal within the digital realm. But of course, you can then play with another character, another pass. You can just set up a new free character as well, but they won't have any of the benefits of having an immortal statue erected. But yeah, all good fun. So if you do want to have a look at Machiavellic, you can still buy officer passes. You can stake them within the game, start earning rewards. The game is, so we're on this journey now over to the new planet, and it's going to take a while. And so they're creating mini games that we'll be able to play. And I don't know what they're going to look like. Maybe small on-screen battlers or puzzles, treasure hunts, that sort of thing. I don't know. But all of those will have the ability to earn rewards as part of them as well. So yeah, so this is the main website for the game. You can come and browse around, find out things that they've got for sale, come and see some of the amazing graphics they've produced. and now you can actually start to interact with some of their applications too, which is great to see because it's been a long time building, and you're never quite sure if they're going to deliver. But they've certainly got the enthusiasm and the passion, and the team themselves are really, high characters. It seems really enthusiastic about their craft. So I've got high hopes for the game. They've also partnered with FGL, which is a game network operating on other blockchains to Cardano. Sold NFTs there, and they're helping onboard people through to Cardano as well. But they've done that because there's a whole load more activity in the gaming world, the blockchain gaming world, outside of Cardano, because Cardano's environment is quite young, really, in regard to that. So you can check out FGA as well. So there's one thing that I did want to mention. If you want to support me, the Fluid Pool, if you're a delegator, it's in your interest to support the pool, and come and shout out about Fluid Pool's partnership with FGL and with Machiavellic in the Discord. So I'll drop a link in the chat as normal, so you can go and see all the links I mentioned within the call. You can go and get hold of them on my Discord server afterwards. I can't actually find the conversation now, but within the Mac, no, it wasn't. It was the FGL server. That's right. Within the FGL server, I'll get you drop you an invite to this server as well. And we've actually got a section within here specifically for the pool. I'll drop you a direct link to it. But in here, you'll be able to find the Fluid Pool in the Hardliners faction. Come and react to some posts. Some of you got your beautiful mugs on there. React to the posts, drop a comment, tell people why you think Fluid Pool is the best pool, and we'll see if we can get some more delegators through that. That'd be great. Thank you very much. Cool. So one of the other topics I wanted to just quickly mention, a bit of news around the ecosystem to give you an idea of Cardano as a whole and why it's a good ecosystem to be looking at. I'm just going to close this tab because that's slowing things down a little bit. So Emergo, which is one of the founding entities of Cardano, there was IOG, who actually do the development, the building. There is Cardano Foundation, which is a non-profit which manages the Cardano treasury. And then we have Emergo, which was like the commercial entity set up to forge partnerships with enterprise and commerce. And so one of the recent announcements they've made is that they've actually partnered with Huawei. I don't even know how to say that. Don't think anybody does. Which is the trillion-dollar telecoms company, tech company out of China. So they've got a lot of bad press in the US because the US don't like China at all. But they produce massive amounts of mobile phones, where they're generating the bulk of their wealth, and they're going to be running a Cardano node as part of their infrastructure, so that they can offer services related to their network. So whether that's going to be an integration with the all speculation at the moment. We've got World Mobile Token, which is a Cardano-based project that's running network mobile infrastructure in Africa and also in the US, Mozambique, Tanzania, and now in United States, rural United States, to create telecoms networks in difficult to reach places. They've got these large dirigibles, aerostats filled with helium that they fly up, and they hang aerials off them, and that can then talk to the mobile backbones. They're also in talks with SpaceX. And so I'm wondering whether, because these large names are now starting to be involved with Cardano, using Cardano as the base blockchain within their infrastructure, that's why Huawei perhaps have come on board. So Emergo have been courting them for a while, and they've actually got enough to be able to announce it now, which is which is very cool, very bullish for Cardano as a whole, because it shows you that, Cardano is not a Mickey Mouse chain. It's got serious infrastructure. It's been put together by rigorous academic research. There's like 200 academic papers being written on the technology. There are several ways for developers and development teams, large enterprises to really get involved, and good resources that being written out there for everything involved with it. Also, Cardano is a fully decentralized chain, so it's potentially the most decentralized chain. And that means that it's very hard for any single entity to manipulate it, coerce it, to play with the infrastructure, the security of the infrastructure itself. One of the next stages, or the current phases for Cardano, is to create a governance infrastructure that's not controlled by Emergo, Cardano Foundation, or IOG, but actually to devolve that power to create or to make changes within the protocol parameters, part of the community decision. And that movement is done in the era of Voltaire, that we're calling it. And we've got a white paper, SIP 1694, Cardano Improvement Proposal 1694, that we've been working on for a good year now. And there are now community-funded initiatives to create documentation articles that will translate the complexities of making protocol parameter changes palatable or consumable by more average humans like myself. So there is a series of infographics that have been put together by a stake pool operator, Mike from Able Pool. And these infographics might blow your mind a little bit because they're still extremely complicated, but this is simplifying the decision-making process within this new government system that's being set up to run and manage Cardano's decision-making. So that's the full infographic, and there are sort of 4 phases of it. We've got parameter groups within that can make governance decisions, and these are formed by various portions of the community. So we're going to have delegated representatives, which can be anybody in the community who holds ADA and is a bit of a mouthpiece for Cardano. They can nominate themselves to be a delegated representative. Then anybody that holds ADA, if they like what they're saying, can choose to delegate the power of their ADA that they hold, the voting power that they hold, to that representative. So, for example, I could be a delegated representative. If you trust my ability to make decisions around the blockchain, then you might entrust your voting power to me for a particular set of votes. And that might not be so necessary for me because I'm actually a stake pool operator already. And that's the second group of people who are actually charged with making decisions. And that's then detailed in this portion of the infographic. And this is detailing vote power, how that's spread across all the stake pool operators, which there are about 3,000 at the moment. If certain portions of those just don't understand the decision that's being made, they can choose to abstain from the vote, which means they're hands off. And so their vote power then gets assigned to the unequal measure to the yes and no votes of the remaining stake pool operators. If you are a stake pool operator and you vote yes on a change, and that change might be to change the block size of the blocks on the Cardano blockchain, that would increase the capacity, but also perhaps reduce the performance and increase the expense of operating the chain. But that might be necessary to include more activity within the chain. And so those sorts of decisions are really best in the hands of stake pool operators who are actually running the computers, the servers, the network nodes that run the blockchain. And so we'll have a stake pool operator having a portion of the vote. We'll also have delegated representatives operating in those same votes. And then we'll have a series of smaller groups all discussing and mentioning and deciding how they're going to vote in which way in particular. and they can be parameter committees. So we've got this members-based organization within Cardano as well called Intersect, and anybody can sign up to Intersect, companies or individuals. And then once you're in, you can apply for grant funding. You can apply, or you can set yourself up as a spokesperson. You can attend conferences on behalf of Intersect, and these infographics have been, in fact, been funded by the first tranche of grants being assigned to community groups. So Abelpool wanted to create infographics, and he's been able to get funding for that, which is great. We've also got Lido Nation, who I've spoken about in the past. They're heavily involved in Project Catalyst, which is the innovation fund that drives development in Cardano ecosystem to a huge extent. $16 million every 3 months or so is pumped into the ecosystem for development. They received some grant funding to produce tooling for educating people on how these governance actions can work. And so this is detailing all the parameters, all the decisions that might be made, all the weighting of the votes, how we're protecting. We've got these 3 tranches to be able to protect one from overpowering the others, because we really need to have security and stability, and no way for any one large group to really wipe out decisions or delay decisions, or be a major problem on the chain, or to subvert it, overtake it, and have too much power. So we're always talking about trying to spread power to the edges, and so that's what this is trying to do. So governance is a very tricky issue. There are a couple of chains that have tried to tackle it. Polkadot's one that's done a very good job of it. And so Cardano now is trying to get its governance really off the ground and have it completely devolved and decentralized. And we're doing a good job. I think it's coming along really nicely. So that's just a hint of the complexities involved in the thought that's gone into Cardano, as opposed to some of the other blockchains out there that might just have a whole load of venture capital money pumped into them with the intent paying out those venture capitalists. So when you choose Cardano, you are choosing a more noble path, shall we say? Any questions on that? Do interrupt me. I do tend to just monologue otherwise. So one other thing I wanted to look at is a quick demo of the power of the technical abilities within Cardano. One of the things that comes against Cardano a lot is really low transactions per second. And that's seen as a big thing on other chains. They've got the fastest transactions per second. The difference with Cardano is it's an extended UTXO blockchain, which means that it can have 1,000 transactions within one single transaction. So the TPS count that people brag about really doesn't apply to Cardano, because anybody can put as many transactions as they want within a transaction. And this beautiful graphic is showing one transaction on the Cardano blockchain containing I don't know how many it was in the end, something like 3,000 NFTs transactions happening within that one transaction. So all this would be considered, every individual one of these will be considered a transaction on, for example, Ethereum, and they get about 15 transactions per second, I think it is. With Cardano, we have one transaction actually containing thousands of others. And so our TPS might only be 8 transactions per second, but within each of those 8, we've got 3,000 NFT transactions happening. And so that's the mismatch of information that's put out there. Cardano is being slow and really slow transactions per second. 8 trans per second TPS is still a good number, but within that we've got an additional thousands potentially happening within each transaction. So yeah, a really strong visualization of how powerful the blockchain actually is. Again, that's why the big enterprises are turning our way slowly but surely. If anybody is UK based and wants to meet up with me, I'm actually in London on tomorrow. where there is a social event hosted by Upstream, which is a staple operator. They also run events within Cardano. They put on the last few London meetups and the London Summit in collaboration with Cardano Foundation. They're now doing an event in collaboration with Atrium Labs, which is a project based out of the States, building support mechanisms for state pool operators in particular. And so if you wanted to come along to that, I think it might, yes, it has got slots left. So you can come along. It starts 6 p.m. tomorrow night in the Botanist Broadgate Circle, London. So if anybody is in London, wants to come along to that, check the links in Discord. You can sign up and we can have a face-to-face, which would be great. Cool. Okay. Well, that was the blitz on the sort of pre-prepared content. Now I want to get into an opportunity that we've got coming up within Fluid Pool. We are partnered with Orcfax, which is an oracle. So within any blockchain, actually, keep those open. I can drop the links in afterwards. Within any blockchain, you have a little island of information that's going on, really. And so that's quite isolated from the other blockchains. It's isolated from the real world, and is not a particularly useful thing unless you actually have interactions with other blockchains and with the real world. So, for example, we've probably all used exchanges to either buy crypto or brokers to buy stocks and shares, or interacted with TradingView maybe to look at foreign exchange trading. With those systems, you are trusting a oracle that is pulling in the price feeds from various sources to come out with the price that actually you can then go and buy that asset with. And those price feeds are part of the oracle infrastructure, particularly when they interact with blockchains. So a blockchain is just a store of data. If you want to have information on a particular real world event, like a change in price of something, then you need to pull that onto the blockchain. And so the Orcfax team are creating an oracle on Cardano. We've got one other main oracle that's working at the moment, Charlie 3, and now Orcfax is a team building up the second one, which has got some enhancements. It's kind of second generation. They're really creating a reliable infrastructure, a reliable way for the chain to interact. And so this is the intent now. And in fact, just this week, there was a whole load of furore in the community about oracles, which I'll just try and find for you. I didn't put a link to it today. So Charlie 3, which is the main oracle on Cardano that is not part of, or that is not set up by a project itself. So for example, a decentralized exchange will often run its own oracle. It manages the technology, it pulls the prices from the places it wants to, and then sells them to you at the price that it wants to sell you at, which isn't ideal because you really want a third-party, independent party to be deciding what the price of an asset is, pulling the data from multiple other places, and then that's the price that's used to sell you the asset. So Charlie 3 is a independent, third-party, uncoercible entity in theory, and that's why it's used quite widely by lots of projects to pull in price feeds, because people trust Charlie 3 more than they would pricing from the team themselves. However, there was a hiccup. One of the ways that Charlie 3 gets its prices is by using programming interfaces with other exchanges and marketplaces. So it pulls its price data from an API, and one of those APIs had a glitch or a mismatch of the way that the data was stored and read and stored. And then that, of course, gets itself into the Oracle feed, which then influences the exchanges that use it. And so liquid finance, which is a lending borrowing protocol, actually had one of their price points change so drastically that if they had not had some precautions in place, it would have liquidated a lot of people's trades. So if you're borrowing on liquid finance, then you're putting up some collateral to be able to borrow some other asset. If the value of the collateral that you've put up drops below a certain amount because the price of that asset is always fluctuating, then actually your loan can be liquidated. Your collateral will be sold to pay back the person who provided the loan. And if that happens, obviously, through a mistake in the data, that's a really significant incident. And so liquid finance was using Charlie 3. This happened. Fortunately, they had some precautions in place. If the price dropped, more than 90% of, well, I think it did drop 90% from where it should have been. And if it goes over a certain threshold within liquid finance, then it stops that trade going through. And so that was an incident. Liquid finance founder is quite a effervescent character, ran onto Twitter and started screaming and shouting about it. And so that caused a whole load of upset and people shouting at Charlie 3 for making a mistake. Then they were Charlie 3 was defending itself and pointing fingers at the APIs that they were using, and then they were saying, well, we never said you could use our API, and and so it just ended up with lots of people shouting at each other, and it resulted in Charles Hoskinson, who's the founder of the inventor really of Cardano. He's also founder in Ethereum and has been heavily involved in the early Bitcoin blockchain. So he then said, look, if we needed to have a gathering of people involved in oracles or people demanding oracles, better quality sources of data for the Cardano blockchain, then just come to my ranch and we'll have a meeting. And so he's organizing an event now at his ranch for oracle discussions in particular, which is, again, very bullish news for OrcFax, which is a project launching an oracle on Cardano, the second project to really launch an oracle on Cardano. So that's good news for us as well, because we're partnering. I can't actually find the post I was looking for, but I'm not very good at doing two things at once. Let me just check one last thing. I think it was from DC. Yeah, this is the founder of Liquid Finance. Decentralized theater effing joke of a blockchain with zero basic infrastructure to protect users with working oracles because of pure incompetence and clownery at the top. That sound fun to you? Come build on Cardano. Tutto bene, buongiorno. No reason, no need at all for any of that language. It wasn't as big a deal as he made out to be. He'd actually put something in place to prevent it because he acknowledged that it could have been a problem. So really, it was a bit of a nothing burger, but still something that does need to be improved on. And OrcFax's methodologies massively improve on that. So that's the sort of project that we're looking at partnering with and the opportunity we're looking at investing in. So as a pool, state pool operator, I was able to apply, well, anybody was able to apply to the whitelist for buying an OrcFax validator license. If you have this validator license, it means that you can run a node on the OrcFax protocol. And that means your computer will be trusted to feed the data from real world places where the data is stored or is being generated, and then store it on the blockchain so that projects and teams can actually read it from the blockchain directly. And so Fluidpool is going to be a node operator, and we've got a slot on the incentivized testnet. So for the next 12 months at least, we'll be running a node on the OrcFax protocol, and it's incentivized testnet. So to grow the project rapidly, they're incentivizing people to actually take part in the infrastructure, and the rewards returned to that are looking healthy. So I've put up the money up front to be able to get whitelisted for this opportunity, and I'm fully committed to just doing this myself. if there aren't the takers. However, I've had people interested, and I've got one slot already sold for sure. And I'm only opening up 9 slots plus the one for me to be able to participate in this. So it's quite low in numbers of people involved. The minimum entry price point is going to be $2,600, and that can be paid in ADA to Fluid Pool to actually participate in the opportunity. You need to have registered some interest in it, and I'll add you to a discussion board and give you access to a document to do some real due diligence. But I'm looking to buy this license on Monday, and I want to have all the participants in the investment having put their money in by Wednesday. Now, I was hoping to run this as a self-custodial effort, but in fact, what we can't do is have every individual holding the asset. We actually have to hold it in a central wallet, and that wallet is the one that bought the or registered for the whitelist. So I've actually got a single signatory wallet that's holding the assets to get us on the whitelist, and it looks like that's the wallet we're going to have to use for getting the opportunity started, at least. So you will actually be sending your ADA to me, and I will be promising to return the assets to you at the end of the opportunity. What I will do is, once we get our license secured, I will speak to the team, see if we can actually change the wallet that holds the asset and that issues the rewards into a multi-sig wallet, because I'd rather have it so that we're all not reliant on a single person to make sure we can benefit from the rewards. And also, if something happens to one person, me, for example, we need to be able to still get the rewards out. But also, we don't want to trust one person with having all the keys to the kingdom. And so we'll have to approach the team after the fact. But to get started with it, then you'll be sending your asset to me. Now, I've bought the assets to begin with, so kind of makes sense. So if you'll have to be able to trust me as an operator if you want to take part in this to a larger degree than I was hoping to do for the start of it. But there we go. We are where we are, unfortunately.
Just a couple of questions, Jonathan.
Sure.
So you're saying there's no returns until the end. Do you know what percentage of returns that they might be on your investment, and how long a period before they're obviously returned?
Yeah, so great question. So what the dollar investment is doing is buying fact tokens. So we'll be buying the native token for the ArcFact team themselves. That is already a top 40 token. Actually, I think it's 26 or something at the moment by market cap on Cardano. So we've got some stability in the price of that token already. Of course, this is crypto. Token prices are crazy, go up and down. And so at the end of that year period, you will get 90,000 fact tokens back. So that's the sort of value of the that you're actually purchasing with your dollar investment. Those can actually increase or decrease in value significantly if the project's successful or if it's not. So that's the sort of capital investment you'll be securing is 90,000 fact tokens. You'll also be, and actually the price that you'll be getting that at is inflated over the current price you'll be able to buy those fact tokens on the open market, because I've included within that that figure price to buy the validator license itself and to rent the servers for a year that will be running the infrastructure for the opportunity. So it's got the cost of the opportunity bundled into it. So you'll be paying a little bit more for your fact tokens now, but for that you'll actually get the rewards, and that's where the potential for having a good return is. So the rewards will be paid out as we go throughout the year. So you'll be getting a bit of cash flow from it, as it were, if you're looking for a cash flow opportunity rather than just a straight capital investment. So it's not just capital, it's also got cash flow element as well. And the sort of minimum return on your 2000, the figure we've settled at from the point of when I purchased the FACT tokens is $2,790 US, which equates to 4,520 ADA. So if you've got that and you want to put it into this opportunity, you'll be getting back 90,000 FACT for that at the end. But in the meantime, the lowest estimates for returns would be about $50 worth of FACT tokens per month. And that's the most pessimistic outlook. Of course, the FACT tokens could drop in value as well, so it could go even lower than that. But that's the hope, is that because we're at the start of the bull cycle, Bitcoin's hitting all-time highs, Cardano is still well below its all-time high, and the FACT token itself is a much smaller cap token within the Cardano environment, so it's going to grow even more rapidly if the project does well. Then there could be significant chance of returns. So there is a calculator that the team's put together that we can actually play with some figures, and I'll talk that through with you now. So if you think of that as a minimum, I'm spending $2,500. I'm getting 90,000 FACT tokens in 12 months' time, but I'm also going to be earning a minimum of sort of $50 per month in that period, which equates to about a 20% APR. I think I figured out. So any other opportunity, that's yes.
Question, Jonathan. Is the number of ADA fixed at this stage, or is that dependent on the price at the time next week?
So the ADA value.
What's fixed? Is it the amount fixed?
Yeah, both. So the amount that's determining the price point of entry is when I had to buy the FACT to get ourselves on the whitelist. So that was actually back at the end of February.
Okay.
So we've got the ADA price from back in February, which we were actually up at 60 cents or something like that, I think, at the time. So that was a price point. Let me get the screenshot going. You can see the figures and whatnot's in front of you. Should be able to show large one. Everything is shut down. Great. So just going over. So we have the validator figures. So these are the figures, the numbers around the opportunity. And then I can go on to show you the estimates on what
Is it possible to increase it, Jonathan?
Increase the returns?
The size. No, just the size of the screen. We're struggling to see it.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Cool. So yeah, the date that we got in to buy the FACT and get ourselves on the whitelist was 21st of February 2024. So the prices are determined from then. So you can see that the price of FACT tokens in ADA is 0.04 at the time we bought, And the current price of the fact token is slightly lower than that, 0.0378. So since we bought, it's dropped slightly, and we can see here, if you want to do diligence on the history of the token and how it's performed, you can see this in the fact listing on Tap Tools. So again, I'll drop this link into the chat. So going back over the history of the token, it launched in September, so middle of September, and price has dropped since that. I mean, the initial pump at launch is always a bit ridiculous, so I never include that. But since then, probably this might be a good place to go from when the floats die down a bit. So at launch, it did hit a 0.06 as a sort of medium. We're currently sitting at 0.03, and I actually bought at 0.04. So there's like a 36% drop since launch, and we've got again 0.41. I bought it at, and we're currently sitting about 7% down from where I bought. So for your return on investment, you're thinking about that. You want to get it back above that sort of purchase price of 0.041. I wasn't actually sharing that correct screen then, was I? Oh, no, maybe I was. And if I jump back here, you'll see that the ADA price at the time as well was higher. So it was 0.61 cents per ADA. And we're now sitting at 0.58. So not far off at all. And that translates to a fact to US dollar price of 0.0253, which in today's prices is 0.0222. So we're in the ballpark. We haven't dropped massively from when we got in to opportunity. Obviously, the project hasn't launched yet, so there's a lot of potential upside in just the price of the fact token itself. Actually, let me quickly jump back to fact token again. So looking at it, here we can see some due diligence on the token itself. It is being actively traded 5 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 12, 14, 15, 16. So people are interested in it as a token. Top traders are putting in volumes of about 8,000 ADA. I think that's the ADA value, ADA quantity. So not insignificant amounts of ADA being traded in and out of the token. In terms of distribution of the token, this might tell us something. Well, the load. So these top wallets are actually team wallets. And the validators, which is holding the rewards that are going to be paid out to people running the infrastructure themselves. And that's 50% of the liquid supply. The fact team are holding 9%. The foundation has got 5%. And the ecosystem has got 4.53. So most of the tokens are still tied up within the project. And then outside of it, we've got some whales. This one's holding 3.3% of the supply. Peter VG is actually the founder of the project, so I imagine that's his holdings, which is 3%. And then we've got some more team wallets, actually, promotions and advisors. And then we're into sort of general public holding much less of it. So most of the token is still tied up in the team, but allocated to community growth and so on and so forth. If we look at it in the scheme of things, So this is a list of the top 50 tokens on Cardano, and the fact token is sitting at number 26. So in fact, in the past 30 days, the price has gone up 19.2%. And we've got a market cap value of $6.5 million stored up in the token at the moment. So in relation to the largest native token on the Cardano blockchain, that's 1.3 billion, which is a Singularity Nets token for artificial intelligence. So it's not doing too bad, but not doing huge as well. The second largest is World Mobile Token, which is 220 million. So us sitting down at 1.5, at 6.5 is not a bad place to be at all for an early project. Good. So that's the token. Back to the facts and figures. So what's actually involved in the capital expenditure that we're putting into it? So to be able to operate a node on the Oracle protocol, we need to have 500,000 fact tokens staked. So that has to stay within the the opportunity for the duration, and that just gives us the privilege of being able to operate the license, actually make it functional. There's this opportunity for adding in bonus fact tokens, and because I had to buy more tokens than we needed during the whitelisting phase, because there was such high demand for the validator to get onto the validator whitelist, I ended up buying 400,000 more fact than was needed to operate the license, but that got us a whitelist slot, and I think we managed to get into position 35 out of 100. So initially, when I hadn't put in that additional 400,000, we were sitting at 96, I think. So likelihood it would have been pushed out by other people then coming in and bidding more for the license. So the top third in the end was in the ideal place to be, and it's actually being rewarded to us now. We can hold on to that fact token, stake it with the this program as well, which we only have the opportunity to do if we're running a node, and we'll get a bonus return on our investment as well. So that then is redeemable at the end, so that we'll have 900,000 fact tokens that we'll get back at the end of the opportunity to do with as we want. The 100,000 of those fact tokens will actually go to buy the license itself. So we'll be spending 100,000 and we'll be getting an NFT back. One of 100 NFTs that will be produced at this stage. And that NFT is the actual license itself that gives us the ability to run the infrastructure and to receive the rewards. So 1 million fact tokens, which will get back 900,000 plus the NFT. And as part of the costs in here, I've put in a figure for real world server costs. So that's what I'll be paying to the in terms of compute hours and storage, etc. for the year. That's my estimated costs. So I fixed those for the opportunity for the year, and I'll just absorb any fluctuations in price or anything like that. However, in terms of return for my time in managing the opportunity, then I'm just going to keep hold of this NFT in perpetuity, so that I can continue running the node after the opportunity ends. So that effectively will be coming to me over and above everybody else, but everything else is being split equally. So in terms of that February 21st date, when we got into the opportunity, then the splitting that cost between us all is $2,790 or 4,520 ADA. And for that, you'll be getting, in terms of capital, 90,000 fact tokens. Is that all making sense in terms of the costs of the opportunity?
Yeah, it is.
Cool. So now we can look at the potential returns. So within the tools that the team have given us to actually estimate, of course, this is all speculation. There's no guarantees in this opportunity. It's an early stage startup. Startups fail more often than they succeed. I've been careful in picking one I think will succeed, but that there's still a risk. And so only join it if you're really confident, and don't spend more than you're able to lose. But here we have a calculator from the team in what they predict will be. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Predict will be the way to, or how much we can potentially earn from the protocol itself. So this is their model I calculated to show you what's going on. There's more to this spreadsheet, but the bits we're really interested in are the boxes in yellow. That's the only items we can actually change. So again, I'll drop the link to this so you can go and play with it as well. But so in fact, so let me reset it to the base level first. So we've got 0.58 and 0.038 as the prices. At the moment, ADA price in dollars is that. Fact price in ADA is that. And we have 0 paid feeds, no customers for the project at the moment. But we do have our bonus stake in there. So this is sort of the worst case scenario for the opportunity. Hi, Luca.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning. So quick recap. This is Orcfax, which is an Oracle provider that's building out on Cardano. I've secured a license to be able to, or a position on the whitelist to be able to buy a license, which in total has cost me about $27,850. So I'm looking for partners who want to join me in this. I'm just looking at the returns now. So worst case scenario from the calculator that the team have provided is that, operating at current prices, ADA price of 0.58 cents. I haven't actually looked today on the price, but that was what it was yesterday or the day before when I put this together. And the number of feeds is an interesting parameter because that's how many customers they get, paying customers they get. The more feeds that they sell, the more revenues we'll earn as part of running a validator node. So we've got no idea how much that could be. At the moment, they've got 3 subsidized feeds, which means that the team are actually paying for that. So that doesn't help our rewards. So if they were running more subsidized ones, that I've got my logic inverted on that. So subsidized feeds, the more they run, that does actually benefit the validators, yes. Just not to the same extent that a paid feed would. So at the moment, they've got 3 subsidized feeds. So that's the returns on those, and they're adding more feeds all the time. So last week they were talking about the Cardano native feeds, whole load more being added for World Mobile Token and AGIX and NMaker and these other tokens. And the more of those that they create and release, the more validator rewards there are available. So if we get actual paying customers for those, so like I was saying earlier on about liquid finance, moaning about Charlie 3's tiny glitch, liquid finance may look at using Orcfax instead. Charlie 3 relies on fewer data points as their source of truth. I think at the time of the glitch, they were actually only relying on 2 data sources. Orcfax will always operate at a minimum of 3 points. and most of the time they'll be operating much more than that, but it's a minimum of 3. So that diminishes the chance of having one rogue figure throwing out your data as it's stored on chain. So if no customers come for the duration of this opportunity, then this is the sort of figures we'll see. So as a validator as a whole, and you'd be getting 48% return. But of course, that's then being offset against the costs that we've put in and the cost of actually buying the license in the first place. So that there are returns on the fact tokens alone, which we get back. So you put in $2,800, you get out 90,000 fact. So your return on that over the 12-month period should be 20%. I've worked out at the end of if these prices remain as they are. But of course, we're going into a bull cycle, so the prices are likely to go up. And this is a new product launch, so it's going to hope find some customers. So as conservative figures, as an estimate of how the returns could, the upside is pretty high. So if we got an ADA price of $3, which we hit $3.09 at the height of the bull cycle last time. So we'll hopefully see that price again soon, and also within this 12 months. That's my hope. ADA fact price, tiny projects like these, if ADA value goes up 5x from where we are, then the fact price would go up a factor above that again. So I've gone for 0.3. That's about 8x from where we are. The number of validators plays into it because we've got 100 licenses out there for the duration of this opportunity. If only half of them actually run nodes successfully because they're not technically proficient or something goes wrong, that will increase our rewards. But let's assume that people who've paid out 27,000 to get access to a license are gonna make sure that their infrastructure is in place, that they're capable of doing it. So we could put that at 90%. Say, I'm not doing it up to 100 because people who do have issues with their machines at any point will have their rewards slashed. So maybe we have an issue with the machine, there's an outage at the server center or something, so that could reduce the number of operators. And so I've dropped it down slightly. Number of subside fees, we'll leave it as is at 3, and actually we'll add 3 customers feeds in there as well. And these others aren't so crucial, but with our bonus stake included, and that brings the APY up to 95%. This figure is one to keep your eye on. So back where we were, the total rewards to split between us was $468 per month. And with those parameter changes, it actually comes at $38,000 per month. So you can see the incentives are pretty significant. So splitting that between us, it's $3,800 each for a $2,007 per month for a $2,800 investment. That's not a guarantee. That is not 100% sure or anything like that. That is just guesstimates, pure speculation, but that's a potential within the figures that we've got before us. So depending on market conditions, on customer adoption, then we could see figures like that coming in from it, which the potential upside makes it worth the risk of the loss on my part. However, I am willing to, and I'm willing to take that full risk myself, but I'm opening up to others if they want to participate in that potential upside as well. Any questions on that? Is that all making sense?
All good for me. Thanks, Jonathan.
Great. So let's look a bit more at the project itself. I've dropped into Discord server, both on the Fluid 7 Discord server and into the Opportunity DAO Discord server. A sort of due diligence document on where to start looking if you're doing some due diligence on this project. It's not zooming in. What's going on? There we go. So within Fluid 7, I've got a private channel, OrcFacts. So if you are interested, you want to get your money together by Wednesday of next week, then let me know now, or comment on the Discord, and I'll get you added to this private group, and we can start doing due diligence deeper level between us, or talking about how to get the money over to the opportunity. But yes, so this is an introduction. One of the buzzwords around the project is deep in. So in the space this year, we're going to hear a lot, if you're looking at the blockchain industry, about deep in and about RWA. A deep in is decentralized physical infrastructure. So that's actually the computers and the servers running a decentralized infrastructure, and that can be storage, it can be compute power, can even be memory space, and that running in a decentralized fashion means that individual operators are being rewarded by the protocol automatically from a smart contract in terms of operating to be rewarded for running that infrastructure. And so it becomes a self-feeding ecosystem that pays for its operations. And that gives you a really reliable infrastructure then, because you know that it's all being paid for by people operating the machines, for other people then to build on top of it. So deep in is a very big buzzword at the moment. Also, RWA is a real world asset. So this is fractionalization of things happening in the real world. And that again impinges on this project in particular, because anything that happens in the real world needs to come, in terms of information, needs to come through an oracle to actually get on chain. And so with OrcFacts being that oracle, they're the middleman, effectively. They're the trusted source of truth for what's happening in the real world being recorded on chain. So yeah, we're hitting two buzzwords this season, which is great. And the news around it will hopefully result in attention on the project. One of the largest oracles is Chainlink, and they actually do also provide a feed on Cardano. Liquid Finance use them as a source of truth as well. And Charlie 3 is the one that's native to Cardano. That's already up and running for the last year or so, or more. OrcFacts is a new one that's got more data points feeding into it, and a better infrastructure architecture for building out an OrcFacts solution, an Oracle solution. So there are posts here for the OrcFacts, the rules that I'll have to follow to be able to buy the license. So we've got ourselves on the whitelist, which means we have the opportunity to buy it and actually go through and buy it on Monday. So that's when we spend that 100,000 packed tokens. So you can see the license actually being bought. And for openness and transparency, which is always good, you'll be able to follow the contents of the wallet I'm using. As I was explaining earlier, unfortunately, because I use this wallet to buy into the opportunity to get on the whitelist, we have to use it for the NFT purchase as well. So to take part in this opportunity, you'll actually be handing your ADA over to me. So if you trust me and Fluid Pool to actually be custodians of your ADA for this opportunity, that's how we'll have to run it to begin with. And I'll hopefully switch to the multi-sig multi-wallet a bit later on for the rewards distribution. But this is a blockchain explorer looking at Fluid Pool, and the wallet that we are interested in that's holding the tokens is going to be, so you can see it over the next year, keep an eye on that wallet. Is going to be at this address. So here you can see I've got a couple of fungible tokens in there, other than AUKFAX, but AUKFAX is the main one with the 1 million FAX tokens stored. So that is what you want to keep an eye on. So 100,000 FAX tokens will leave this wallet. This is publicly accessible, so anybody can access from any time. I can't stop you. So 100,000 ADA FAX tokens will leave that, and in return we'll get an NFT into the wallet, which will represent our license. And in fact, that's one thing we might want to have a quick look for, is what that NFT will look like, because they released the graphic for it this week as well. Might not be showing because I think I've got graphics off. I can look on. Right, there we go. And then likes. I think it should be here. There we go. So this is the release of the NFT, the license value. So that's what it's going to look like. So when you see that validated license turn up in this wallet, you'll know I've done as promised and managed to buy the NFT license. In fact, I should put a link to this post in the due diligence document as well. If that's all right, 1 second. Good. So dropping down this document again. I think I have it open somewhere. So those bonus rewards will be variable throughout the period. But we're looking sort of 20% upwards is my, I'm fairly confident we should see that. So, 20% over a year is not a bad return anyway. And then the bonus it's got a lot of potential upside. So the founder of it is Peter van Garderen. And he is, I think he's US based, but he's founder of AUKFAX, and he's involved in a few other projects as well. I've been seeing him speak around the Cardano community for a couple of years, Project Catalyst and the Cardano summits. He was on stage, Cardano summit, on a panel this November, and speaks really well. Very intelligent guy. He's worked in the data security industry for his entire career, and his clients, he's consulted for NATO and United Nations and federal government in the US, and also, so he really knows his stuff in terms of data integrity, data storage, data archiving, and those skills are translating over to blockchain, because he sees that really as the pinnacle of human storage mechanisms, which is very cool. And so he's built out this AUKFAX Oracle because he sees that as a really good way of producing a source of truth for all the dApps of the future. And he's in a really good place to architect something like that. Technical background and involved in data integrity throughout his career. So there's a couple of really good interviews you can come and watch from. One was at the summit. Oops. And one was with Cardano with Paul, who's a YouTuber, who is very good. So I'll drop all these links, and this whole post is on the Discord server already. But let's just remind you where that is. So it's yeah, notify me. I'll add you to this list if you're not on there, and you'll be able to see this. And the private channels, you'll be able to see all facts, and that's where you can get in to see full details. It's also, if you're in the Opportunity DAO Discord server, you can come and check on there under the ArcFacts intro list. And I'll drop an invitation to the server, Discord server, into the chat here now. Actually, let's do that before I forget. So if you're not already in my Discord server, you can do that here. So you can go to https://dsc.gg/fluid7, and that will get you onto the Discord server. And then hit me up, and I'll get you added to the ArcFacts private list on Fluid Pool. So that one there opened up? Nope. This one. So this interview is very good. It's sort of on the fly, on the floor of the summit, just picking up, and that'll give you a gauge on the individual who's behind it all. And then this interview, I haven't actually watched this one myself. I've watched another interview with another YouTuber who I like. This one I haven't got through yet, but comes highly recommended. So that's worth a listen to. And if you search for Peter Van Garderen, you can find him on LinkedIn. In fact, I've got that on the due diligence document as well. You can find him on LinkedIn and so forth. There's his LinkedIn. And also his GitHub. So you can actually see the code that he's submitted in the past and his activity. So that's his GitHub page. This is his profile on LinkedIn. You can go and see his full experience once you're signed in, which I'm not at the moment. Good. So there's a project. They've got $6.5 million market cap in their MAC token. So that's a sort of value. You can use that as a sort of valuation figure when you're looking at the project itself. It's number 26 of all Cardano native tokens. They have had fundraising within their project to actually get this built out to the stage it's at now. They did a token launch on Wing Riders. Hi, Barbara. And Wing Riders is a decentralized exchange on Cardano that has a launch pad. So if a team can take some of their token, assign it to a launch pad event, put it into a smart contract, and then anybody who sends ADA or whatever asset is they're buying the opportunity with will get back a certain amount of that new token based on the proportion of people that put money in. So the more money that goes in, the less of the native token you get back out. But that's a good way to do a fair launch of a token, so you know that the market demand is really controlling the price up or down of that token. And there are several launch pads out there. They chose Wing Riders, which was quite a new one at the time. They didn't provide enough server resource, and so there was a bit of irritation in the community about people trying to buy into the token because there was a lot of demand, bigger than demand than Wing Riders ever seen before. And so they didn't quite manage to serve everybody. Some people lost out, which created a bit of bitter feeling in the community. But in regards of the popularity of the project, that's just really good news, a bullish signal. So that was good. And then Peter wrote a post following the launch that breaks down what the issues were, and so that's worth a read as well, just to see how he handles a sort of community crisis, as it were. They also ran an independent stake pool. So if you're running a stake pool, you're staking your ADA into that pool with an expectation of earning more ADA off the back of it. If you're staking your ADA into, so that's the situation with Fluid Pool. When you stake with Fluid Pool, you get some ADA rewards back and some other tokens as well. But anyway, if you stake your tokens with an ISPO pool, particularly one that's got a percentage figure associated with it, so this is a 99% pool, the ADA you put in, you don't get any ADA back, but you will get their native token back. So they ran this for a period, and that's a good way of raising funds on the back of distributing the token that you've created. Because obviously the team, the person running the pool, then earns all 100% of the rewards, or 99% of the rewards go to the pool operator. In which case, this was the Orfax team. So that's how they did a money raise for that as well. They also submitted some Catalyst proposals. There were two that got funded. One was for $49,500, and that was to kickstart the Orfax project as a whole. So that was back in Fund 6, I believe. They submitted another proposal in Fund 9, in collaboration with M Labs, which is one of the largest development houses on Cardano and other chains. And they raised $112,000 in ADA for that event. So that's funds that have gone into build out the project. This collaboration with M Labs was to create an interface so that programmers can actually draw the data out of the Oracle very easily. So that provided them with software development kits for people to use. And they also put in some proposals to Project Catalyst that didn't gain funding. So there was a proposal for building out a fact page on Cardano where people who wanted to come and find or to negate disinformation or misinformation, they could actually record it as a source of truth on his fact page. But the community decided not to fund that, so they didn't receive any funds for that project. I'm trying to expose, goods and downsides, failures and successes within the project as well, just so you can do your own due diligence, gain an opinion. Token performance I talked through already on that Tap Tools chart. Competitors in the space, we've got Charlie 3, which is the existing Oracle on Cardano. It's been around for a good while, providing a really good uptime, 99.99% uptime. They've had a couple of small glitches, which has made the community kick off massively. So it's a very, very demanding community in terms of authenticity and data security. But they're doing well. So Charlie 3 are they're first to market on Cardano. They're the guys to aspire to be as big as. And so that's a competitor to be aware of. We've also got Chainlink, which is the largest Oracle provider in the crypto industry. And they also run a node on Cardano, an Oracle node on Cardano. So the Liquid Finance and Revuto projects are the two that I've heard of. They actually draw on Chainlink's Oracle as well. But it doesn't seem to be quite successful on Cardano as you would hope. I think it's because it's not native to the Cardano blockchain. You have to go to it via an additional interface, which projects don't really want to do. They want to see have their source of truth built in the protocol that they're actually building their applications on. But Chainlink they're huge, they're massive. They've got legs that can run for miles. So if they decide to come in aggressively into the ecosystem, then that is a risk to Orfax as well. But yeah, so far that's very few numbers of competitors in the space, significant competitors in the space. So Oracle are young in Cardano, and Orfax is new and good to go. Excuse me. This is the one that I really do want you to have a look at. So there's a community submitted diligence report by Do Your Own Research Tool, which is a tool built by SCAT-DAO, which is a terrible name for a DAO, but anyway, that's a decentralized autonomous organization, so multiple entities, all independent, all collaborating to create reports on projects in the space. And so this is one of the reports on ArcFacts. So have you do due diligence, and it's gathered a lot of really pertinent information into one place. So you can see here the tokenomics, what the distribution of the token was at launch. You can see how many followers they've got on Twitter and how many on Discord. This is as of end of March 24, so fairly recent. And so that's to give you an indication of the size of the community that's following the project. So getting 2,400 people into their Discord servers is a decent achievement. The person who's writing the proposal has to write some due diligence of themselves, even just to say that they're not affiliated with the project. So the guy writer of this report is not affiliated. He's not on the project, but he does own some FACTS tokens already. So bear that in mind as you're reading his report. And then he's got a written summary of the project, the proposal, how much the FACTS token is worth, could be worth. Talks about, is the team doxed? So again, it's all about Peter as the project founder. However, I do know a couple of the other guys in the team. I can mention now. So Vahid from Ada for Good Pool, he's kind of community manager. If you join the Discord server, you'll no doubt get to introduce to Vahid. He's a really good guy. I rate him very highly. And I speak with him weekly in the Extra Small Stake Pool Alliance. Also, George from Apex Pool is another stake pool operator. He's actually a developer, and he's working with the ArcFacts project to build some stuff out. He's one of the most generous educators in the space, really knows his stuff. If I have a question regarding stake pool operation, I'll probably go to George before I go anywhere else. Really good guy. And those two are involved with the project as well, which gives me a very good indication. And then there are other developers too, which I haven't met yet, but you can find on the Discord. Yeah, we've seen him being interviewed at events on up on stage, so Cardano Foundation are well aware of him, and so on and so forth. He's also going to the ranch, Charles Hoskinson's ranch, to talk about oracles at this emergency meeting the community's just thrown. So he'll be there, which is good. Has it had an external audit? Not yet. So that's one thing that's missing on their agenda that needs to happen. But they've obviously had plans to do that, and really with this project, it's not so much trusting the code, because it's not holding assets. It's just holding data. It's information about assets. So it's not so crucial to have that audit. There's no money to be stolen in the ArcFacts protocol. Just truth to be damaged. Was there any plagiarism in the white paper? No, it's all their own tech. So yeah, do read through this document, get a grasp on the project, how confident people are feeling about it. And yeah, this is a really good template as well for how to structure your due diligence on any project. So even if you don't go deep into all the details and all the paragraphs, just do think about, these are the sorts of questions you should be asking about any opportunity you get involved in. So that's really well worth the read, and a valuable asset to have in terms of looking at participating in this opportunity or not. And then, of course, there's the project documents themselves, which are really, really readable. So it'd be good to spend some time just looking into this, reading around about the origins of oracles and why ArcFacts is different. This ArcFacts vision I thought was very good. Breaks down triangulation as a minimum versus a single source of truth for the data points. Decentralized versus centralized. infrastructure for it. So yeah, that's one of the big things about Orcfax is that it runs on, it's getting 100 people like me involved in running the infrastructure. So they're then hands off in terms of running infrastructure, whereas Charlie 3, Chainlink, they are private companies running their own computers, their own servers, guaranteeing the uptime that way. This project is looking to guarantee uptime by distributing that workload to many hands. So you'll have 100 technical experts running the infrastructure rather than just one team. So really, decentralization is what I will bang on about till the sun sets, because it's the way forward for humanity, I believe. Yeah, so that's more reading to do, and a few other bits and bobs. They've got some working products already you can go and have a look at. So there's the blockchain, the Oracle Explorer itself. So here you have a nice web page that's pulling the data out of the blockchain that they've stored on the blockchain, so you can actually see it's working and uptime and running. So this is the price of data as it has been pulled and made a median of from I can't remember the sources now. It's something like Kraken and Binance and a DEX, I think, something like that. But yeah, it's real data being pulled and stored on blockchain already, and this is an explorer, so you can then go in and see any of these data points in time. It's happening every roughly every hour. I think the demands are, the fees are on demand as well. So if a project says, "Give me the price of ADA in US dollars now," then that will trigger a data point stored. So you can jump into here and see all the metadata stored on the blockchain about that individual data point, what the sources of truth were, which organization recorded it. So you can see that the price here came from Bitstamp, Coinbase, Kraken, KuCoin, Bitfinex, and HIT BTC. So there we have 6 sources of truth for that one source of data, one point of data. So that's a very trustworthy valuation on the price of ADA against US dollars. So if ever there's one of those providers has a glitch and drops the price down to 0, it's still going to be medianized between those 6 providers. So it's not going to throw the price crazily and liquidate everybody's trades. So that's some of a demo of some of the tech that's running. And then this was the leaderboard that shows the onboarding procedure for the validators. So this is a chart showing all the people that applied and how long till the next phase of the whitelisting procedure goes. So yeah, there's links off to the minting rules, so the rules that I have to follow to get the procedure done correctly, and announcement documentation. They're also in the due diligence document already. So this is a list of all the validators with their transaction hashes that have gotten their place on the list, the staking address, so you can go and search for them on pool.pm, find out about their pools, or their wallets. And to verify our position, you can go and see we are position 35 of it. 30. Um, 36, I think is that one. I can just find it for real. So yeah, to bit part of your due diligence, you can come into, you can get my wallet address, which I did have open a minute ago. Where's it gone? So this is the wallet address that was used for the application. You can take that and search for it on the list here. on here somewhere. I'm fumbling. I need the last few digits now. There we go. So it's 33 we're sitting at. So that is that wallet address showing on this list as with a green means that we did hit the whitelist. So you're not just, I'm not just making this stuff up. And you can then click through on those to see on a Cardano Explorer. This is a Cardano Scan, a different Explorer, but you can then see the wallet address and the contents of the wallet and the transactions that are used. I've put through this wallet address. So if we want to see the assets again, what I like to do is just look at pool.pm because it's a visual blockchain explorer. Go to pool.pm, paste that address in. And that's that full circle. You've gone around the houses, checking from here, taking the address, putting it into the validator license, and then through a blockchain explorer back to here. So there's multiple sorts of data that's showing you the truth from the blockchain. Good. And then there are some invites to their Discord server, and you can follow them on Twitter for bits of information. And then there's some third-party articles being written by Littlefish Foundation. Yoram, who's been in the community, Cardano community for all, is a bit of a veteran. He's written an article on them. And there's a post on the Cardano forum, Cardano Foundation forum as well. So if you want to do any more reading, that's all there available for you. To do a thorough due diligence on the project. Engage whether you want to be in or not. So just going over those few crucial bits of information again. There are there are actually 8 open slots on the opportunity now. Each one of those, you'll be paying in $2,790 US. Preferably, that can be paid in ADA, 4,520 ADA. I'll provide you with a wallet address once you've registered your interest. And for that, you'll receive back 90,000 FACT tokens. But those FACT tokens will have to stay locked in the opportunity for 12 months. And on top of that, you'll be earning a variable monthly reward based on the success of the project, with a sort of minimum estimate of about 20% APR, with an upside of significantly more per month back than what you're putting in as capital. But again, that's all speculation.
Sorry, Jonathan. How are those 49 USD or whatever it is that's going to be generated going to be paid? Is it that in FAT tokens again, or in ADA?
So we'll be paid out from as operating in the validator node. Will be paid out in FACT tokens. So that's an important thing to look at as well. What you expect the price of FACT will be, because we'll be selling that FACT to get back to your foundational asset, whatever that is, US dollars, or in my case, ADA.
Okay, great, thank you.
So we'll be getting the 90,000 FACT at the end of the opportunity, but in the meantime, we'll be earning FACT throughout the duration. And depending on how we want to manage the opportunity, because what I'd like to do is get multi-sig wallets set up, have the validator NFT in there, running the node from that wallet, and then we can have multiple people able to withdraw the assets from that wallet as needs be, like we did for the A-Starter opportunity as well. And that will then also be issuing the rewards from that wallet as well, so that multiple people can issue the rewards month to month as we go through as well. Start time for the project. We've got to do onboarding. We've got to get actual people installing the software, setting up their hardware, running the node. So I can imagine that taking for at least a month. And then we'll need a month of runtime just to settle ourselves into the protocol, make sure it's all working. So I imagine that returns probably won't happen for the first rewards, probably won't happen for between 2 and 4 months, something like that. So it is a bit of a cash flow. Potentially, it could be a very good cash flow. But ultimately, if you're confident in the underlying asset, which is fact, in relation to this project of the second Oracle, native Oracle to Cardano, then that's the sort of decision that's the decision you're making. The sort of the mindset to be in when you're doing your due diligence.
Jonathan, what's the market size of Charlie 3? Do you know off the top of your head? The market cap?
Their token, I don't actually know that. It's a good question. Let's have a quick look. Open Windows. Again, that sort of information is always available on Tap Tools. We have a look at the search box at the top. That'll find it for us. Actually, so C3 is their token. It's on this list. I don't even know if they're in the top. They're not making it to the top 50. So total liquidity is 265,000 ADA, whereas ArcFact is already at 1.5 million. So significant community interest in this next generation Oracle. That sums that out.
So,
Any other questions? Anything else you want to browse through? The Charlie 3
Just on
chart.
a different one, Jonathan. Was it the CNCT token? Is that? Do you know if you've had any more info on that?
They've actually started using the launchpad now, so they've got other tokens being launched off of that platform, which is good. Disappointing though, in that they haven't released the ICPO tokens yet. So they're still, I think they've been so busy building out and integrating these new projects who are launching on them that they haven't got around to doing our token release yet. Website.
just found out the market cap is about 3 million, Charlie 3.
Charlie 3. Okay, is that token elsewhere then?
On CoinGecko.
CoinGecko. Cool. What's the website for Coinector? Coinector, that's a project.
Yeah, just it's CoinGecko.com.
No, not sorry, not Coinector.
Oh, sorry.
To Paul's question, Coinector is a platform. So this is another opportunity we had. We were an ISPO pool for Coinector, and we've got some tokens coming to us, being Fluid Pool stakers. So we're just waiting for them to actually release those tokens. And the Connector token has performed quite well, so that'd be nice, a little earning. But yeah, so they've had the Nuvola project, and in fact, Nuvola, I saw they'd got in touch with ArcFact, so there could be a collaboration there. I don't know Banana Clip, and I don't know Cardano Casino, but these 3 projects are all launching on the technology platform that Coinector have built. So that's interesting. The one we're benefiting from is this actual Coinector launch as well. So we were part of this fair initial stake pool offering. We were a partner pool on there. And so if you staked with Fluid Pool between epochs 449 and 463, which most of the people on this call were, then you'll be eligible for some rewards. And if you want to put your wallet address into here, it will tell you how much rewards you are owed in terms of CNCT. So I'm owed 8.95 CNCT from this wallet, which was a tiny wallet. But that'll give you an idea. Cool. That doesn't satisfy you, Paul, but gives you an answer. We're still waiting.
It does. Thanks. It does. Thanks, Jonathan.
No worries. So anything else, peeps? Anybody want to
Jonathan, is there any quick update on A starter?
A starter? The version 3 of their DEX is about to launch, and they're talking about the launch of the token generation event happening along with that. So I want to say any minute now, but it's been any minute now for the past 6 months. So we are still waiting. And in fact, I was just reviewing the A starter pre-launch token sale that we did, and I think the multi-sig wallet. Cheers, Ray. The multi-sig wallet that we set up with an 18-month window before so a multi-signature wallet allows multiple people to sign, and so you need a quorum to be able to spend anything from that wallet. So 3 out of 5 people acting as witnesses on that wallet. A really good way of securing a group like this in participating in an investment event, because no one person has all the power, and yeah, if there's a problem, you've got 3 out of 5 to have to agree on something to do something. So spending the assets, etc. With the wallet that we were involved in, the A starter opportunity, the initial prediction was that it would run for 18 months. And so at the end of that 18-month period, I set up the wallet to change from being a multi-signature wallet, as in you need 3 of 5 people to sign any transaction. After 18 months, it'll switch so that only 1 of 5 people can sign a transaction. So actually, in I think it's August or something like that, may even be earlier, that wallet will change to being just like a normal wallet, really, that any one of those 5 people can spend the assets in. So it may be that when the token generation event actually happens and we start getting our assets back, it might happen before that window opens up, but we might consider just starting a new wallet so that we can set that 18 months duration on it again. I'll probably go back and talk to the team about that because it's just been so long that we might want to ask them to renegotiate on some of the parameters around the opportunity, because we're supposed to have been earning merge staking this whole time as well, and they've not managed to update that calculator to include partner pools in that evaluation. They've only done it for their own pools. So again, we're unknown on what our interim rewards have been, let alone our actual opportunity rewards. So a bit in the dark, but yeah, there's little bits of snippets of news coming out all the time from them. So hopefully it's imminent. The bull cycle is well underway now, so there's no excuse for their token generation event not to happen. That was a reason for pushing back, holding back. Is that the likelihood of having your token launch higher than it actually runs at was much higher in a bear cycle. But with this bull market now in, there's a good chance for the price to accrue, which is, as an investor coming in, that's what you want to see, obviously. So yeah.
So how long realistically would this opportunity run for?
The ArcFax one.
No, the A starter one.
A starter.
Is it?
I think it was scheduled for 18 months initially. So we'll be getting payouts all along that duration. But yeah, now their launch has been so delayed, I don't know whether we can just ask them to revise that, because that's our capital that's been tied up for a long time now, really. I don't know what your opinions are.
No, I agree. It's certainly worth a word.
Yeah, but we'll see. Well, yeah, if the rewards are still paying out well, then it might be just staying in it for longer. But yeah, if we can get something back, we'll more sooner the better is my opinion now. But yeah, your emotions now will be very different to that in 6 months, I imagine, once ADA's price is appreciated. So yeah, we'll see.
My emotions are calm.
You are Zen.
I am. I'm in the zone.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody saw, but I posted a little meme GIF on the IAW forum that made me chuckle. Maybe I can quickly find it that'll be the last light-hearted wind-up of the day. It was all about the emotion if you're a Bitcoin holder this past week. Here we go. Share screen, zoom controls. They're always in the way when you can see them, and you can never find them when you go looking. I empathize with you every week, Luca. Zoom's controls just are always in the way. I don't know what they do.
Always in the way. Always in the way.
Let me go for this screen. There we go. So this is Bitcoin holders this look. The audio is great. Well, lost the audio.
I mean,
Not going to play for us, but yeah, I'll drop the link into that as well. You can have a watch. It's very funny. Baby emotion. Cool. Right, we've hit our 11 o'clock
Very
stop. So
all right, Jonathan, I came in a little bit late on this, but are you still there?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, what am I looking at? Oh yeah, sorry, I was on Discord as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you send me the details, yes, I'm in. Okay.
You in? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it with Ada. So.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So I'll hook you up on the Discord server, and anybody else that wants to do it, have a bit more think, and then get involved, then just hit me up with a message on Discord.
Add me to the list as well, Jonathan.
Okay. Yeah. I shall do that too. Brilliant. All right.
Perfect. Are you coming tomorrow?
Tomorrow to London. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So I'll see you there tomorrow night.
Great. Oh, that's exciting. I wasn't sure if you were going.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Cheers.
you.